Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Own Your Own Freedom. I am what you would call in this community a narcissistic abuse survivor, and I choose, as I hope all of you would choose with me every day, to own my past, seize my present, and heal for my future. This channel is for all of you, for whether narcissistic abuse survivors, whether empaths, whether highly sensitive people, whether whatever stage of self-realization you are in, and for anyone else who chooses not to be held back by any collective thought, any ideology, any person ever again. So I wanted to start this video with a disclaimer, which says, I am not an expert in this field at all. I am someone who just shares what I observe, and I make connections. And I have seen some things in my life that I would like to share with the world. And this is one of those things. So when I say, is your son dating a narcissist? I'm saying that very loosely. I'm saying based on tendencies and behaviors that are outward, that are observable, but it does not mean that the person that your son or your daughter, I'll say, is dating is a narcissist or they are a borderline. It just shows that this is very toxic behavior, and it could be dangerously narcissistic because the energy and the behavior correlates with NPD, as in the psychological diagnosis. So let me just go ahead and give you my setup for today. So I just want to talk about what is normal when you talk about a couple, as in when they're 16, 17, 18 years old, a normal boyfriend and girlfriend, minor sort of average relationship, and some of the problems that you might see there, whether it be in the family or whether individual children. Oh, and then compare that to what is not normal, what is toxic, what is I guess corrosive, what is just outright not healthy. And then I'm going to tie it all up with just a really nice summary. So what is normal? For example, it is normal for a child to have dysfunction at home. Most families are dysfunctional in some way, whether it be a breakdown in communication, whether it be broken family, whether it be single parent, whether it be death in the family, whether it be, sometimes there is abuse there, sometimes there is non-recognition, sometimes there's neglect, whatever the case may be, it is somewhat normal, not okay, but it's normal in this day and age to have some sort of dysfunction. But that dysfunction is not, does not usually, and is not affecting the love environment and the growth of the children. It shouldn't. I'll say that it shouldn't. But then what is not normal is parents that are apathetic, meaning they have gotten to a point with whether one or all children where they have given up hope for that child, and they do the bare minimum, whether it be they come home, they get fed, maybe they talk to them, maybe they get them what they need, their clothes and everything, but they have given up trying to control their behavior and trying to discipline them, because whether they don't feel like they're adequate or they feel like they have their hands full and they need to take care of the other children. So it is not normal to be apathetic, but sometimes parents are apathetic. It is normal for a child at a young age to be ungrateful to their parents. Yes, it is normal. It is normal to for your parents to do everything that they possibly can to make sure the child is happy, and for the child to still be ungrateful and to still do things that are like, but I give you everything, why are you behaving this way toward me? That's normal. And they eventually, because they don't have much introspection at a young age, and they don't have much understanding in their frontal lobe that my behavior affects other people, affects the environment around me. But as they get older, that changes. It is not normal to feel entitled and to be a burden on everyone around you. That is not normal as a child. It is not normal. I mean, it's normal to be ungrateful, but it's not normal to be ungrateful to the point where you are entitled to the care and the involvement of everyone you come in contact with. That is not normal. And a child who is narcissistic, who gets into a relationship with say, your son, that is what you will find, is that they are entitled to your attention. They are entitled to your care. As soon as they enter your life, you belong, like you are their caretaker. And they will make sure you're involved in everything. And if you're not, if you refuse to be involved, oh yeah, then you're nothing to them. Um, it is normal for a child to be attached to his or her phone. It's normal because this day and age we're in the generation of electronics and technology and all of that, and especially because I'm a millennial. I mean, we are pretty much the generation where technology was birthed. I mean, that's our generation. So it's normal for a child to be attached. It is not normal for a child to have experienced anxiety and stress upon answering their messages, to scramble to get their phone for fear that they won't respond in time to the person on the other end. It is not normal for them to be sweating and to be breathing hard and sighing when they're on the phone, whether it be for them to be raising their voice all the time on the phone and arguing and bickering on the phone. It's not normal. None of that is normal. Because number one, children should not be, I mean, I'm saying children, but young teenagers should not be so involved with someone where they get to the point where they are emotionally distraught. That is not normal. It is normal for a child to have very superficial, very kind, sometimes very loving, but very few relationships like that. But very normal, very surface level relationships, that's normal because they don't have enough struggle to go any deeper. But when they are experiencing anxiety and stress and all of this, when they're around their phone, there's something wrong there. Another thing, it's normal for a child to lie to their parents. I mean, unfortunately, that's the case. I lied to my parents, where I was going and all of that, and what I did at school, and I lied to my parents. That's normal because the child is developing into an independent adult, and they don't want to involve their parents in everything. Even if their parents are willing to help them, there's still this hesitation to tell their parents the truth about things, okay? For fear of their reaction and for fear of, them not being able to be an independent adult. But it is not normal to cover the destructive behavior of that person's girlfriend or boyfriend. I mean, it's normal for, say, your child to, lie about where they were, but it's not normal to lie for the sake of covering up someone else's destructive behavior, because that means that they feel responsible for that person, and they should not be taking on that kind of responsibility as a child, as a minor, or even as a pre-adult, at 18 years old. That is not their responsibility. Most kids, I would say, at least when I was that age, would say, yeah, I wasn't involved, but my friend was, as in maybe like, not to get them in trouble, but just to say, hey, I wasn't, but I understand what's going on. I mean, I wasn't involved, but I understand this is what's going on. And can you not tell their parents? That's a normal conversation. But to lie to protect the other person, I mean, that's way too involved. That's a loyalty that will quickly bring your child into destruction. So another thing, it's another normal thing to love or feel like you love your girlfriend at that age, girlfriend or boyfriend. It's normal to want to have love and everything, but it is not normal to be enmeshed with all of that person's problems, needs, and to be absorbed with them and to give them all your attention. That is not normal. To be enmeshed means to almost be inseparable to the point where it's like we talk about soul ties, where you are tied to that person, where when you're not with them, there's like this loss. That is not normal. Where you can't think without them, you don't trust your own identity, you don't trust your own thoughts without that person. That is not normal. That is a very strong sign of a toxic relationship. Okay? It is normal for a child to want to be grown. Yeah, we all wanted to be grown when we were 16 years old. We all wanted to act like we were grown adults, and usually that manifests in, experimenting with sexual activity or drinking or, unfortunately, sometimes drugs. But that does not mean that it becomes they engaging in perpetual, or not perpetual, what's the word? I can't remember the word that I was going to use, but where they are engaging in adult behavior to the point where it ruins their life. So their grades go down. Like it's one thing to experiment, but it's another thing to do it to the point where your life is ruined because of it, where you have behavioral problems, you have grades problems, you're losing friends, your parents don't I mean are afraid to be around you, afraid to come around you. All of that is not good. All of that is not healthy. That's not normal. Like kids experiment, yeah, but they don't experiment to ruin their life, you know? And if it gets to that point, that means there's something that's dysregulated within them or around them. Another thing, it's normal like I said, it is normal to lie or to keep secrets from your parents, but it is not normal to reject the love, the care, and affection of your family. To deny the very foundation of where you come from, if that very foundation is not neglecting you, abusing you, demeaning you, devaluing you, if that is not the case, it is not normal for a child to keep secrets and to reject the love and affection from their parents. It is not normal because that's innate. We all need the affection. But if your child only comes around to get something from you, but they reject your affection and your wisdom and your care, then that means that they're getting their wisdom from someone else. And it may not even be wisdom. It may just be, believe whatever reality I want you to live in, which may be from his girlfriend. It is normal to need, like I said, to need parental finances, to need the help financially from your parents. But it is not normal to drain your parents emotionally, financially. If your child is draining you emotionally and financially, there's something wrong. I have a good friend, a good family friend, and he has kids, and one child is from his previous marriage, but his wife died when the child was very young, and now he's about 18 years old, but his behavior has been so destructive to himself. He's had to change schools. His dad has had to change schools for him so many times, but not just that. He's at a point where he doesn't even want to live in the house with his dad, with his grandmother, with his brothers, his new brothers, with anybody. He doesn't want to live anywhere near his family. And so his dad, because he doesn't want his child to live on the street, has had to rent an apartment for him. And in that apartment is his toxic girlfriend, who at the same time he was having all these behavioral issues, popped into his life before that. So there's a direct relationship between her presence and his terrible, destructive behavior, and the corrosion of his relationship with his father. So, and he's forced to provide for this girl, because if he provides for his son will protect his girlfriend. So there's this circle of, like I said, there's this ungratefulness, not just from him but from his girlfriend. And there's an entitlement for everyone involved with her, everyone around her, to be involved and to care for her, because this girl and this boy don't seem to desire right now at their young age to get their life right and to get their life together so that they can live on their own as adults that they want to be. So here's some things that we have to keep in mind. So in the context of these toxic relationships, there's usually some sort of trauma or some sort of loss involved, where they lost a parent, whether there was a lot of moving around, whether they were adopted, whether they were abandoned, whatever the case may be. There's always a source of when the problems start, and where the crack in the soul is. I would say a crack in the emotional development is, and that is where these toxic people latch onto. That is what they're looking for. That little area where there's insecurity, there's pain, there's hurt. They want to burrow themselves in like a leech, like a flea, not a flea. What is it? Not a gnat. Like that insect that burrows itself under the skin of humans or of animals to suck their blood. That is what a narcissist is. They're looking for that little area to bury their neck and to latch on. And we need to be, and I'm not a parent, but I would encourage you to be on the lookout for things with your son or with your children, because it starts, this psychological issue starts young, and it starts to manifest themselves later on. So Leave a comment down below if you like this and you agree with any of this with the hashtag own your own freedom. And I will speak to you on the next one.